Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how design does not know who it is anymore. Like it's kind of in its own identity crisis. On one hand, you've got these clean, neutral walls, sleek sofas, not a thing out of place, which feels calm, effortless, but also maybe a little too safe. But on the other hand, well, we are seeing this bold, colorful, mix it all up kind of vibe coming back. Vintage, handmade, like your grandma's house, but make it a bit chic. So where does this leave us? People who are trying to create their homes look beautiful and personal. Today, I'm breaking down this shift in design, what it means, and how you can find your own sweet spot between style and soulful. Okay, let's start with the foundation, what really grounds your space. Because if that part feels right, everything else kind of fits into place. I used to think white walls are the safe choice, and honestly they are. But after a while, my space started to feel flat, like all the personality had been painted over. So I started small. I swapped out the bright white for something softer like a terracotta plaster. It wasn't loud and bold, but it added enough texture and wanted my space to feel alive. And I also tried this sand-colored lime wash in few spots. And honestly, it made the space feel so much warmer, and especially when the lights hit it, it just feels cozy and lived in, And if you like a little more pattern, you can try a geometric wallpaper, something which is inspired by traditional tile work. It gives the space dimension and interest without even feeling overwhelming. And this is what I've noticed, that once the wall had some character, everything else, whether it's modern or vintage, started to fall into place. And if you're not sure where to start, I have actually put together a free design lookbook. It's full of pieces I'm loving lately and some super easy ways to add that traditional Middle Eastern vibe in your home without actually changing everything. Now let's talk about the next piece that really helps pull everything together, which is color. It's honestly kind of amazing what one color can do. Even if your furniture is all over the place, like a modern sofa with a vintage side table, once you repeat a single accent color throughout the space, everything just clicks. It doesn't have to be bold or super noticeable either. You'd be surprised how much of an impact a subtle color can have when it's placed purposefully. Instead of chasing trends, I like to start with a color which actually means something to me. Sometimes it's something I grew up with, like the deep teal from an old mosaic or a warm red I saw in a vintage rug. Then I'll carry the same color into the space with little things like a print, a vase, maybe even a candle or a throw pillow. It's such an easy way to make a space feel personal and cohesive without getting it overly styled. The one thing I loved about Middle Eastern design is that how bold is it with color. Just one shade can pull together modern and traditional elements. You see, once you have got that color connection going, you can start tweaking things here and there without actually thinking about a full makeover. You guys, there was a time when I kept everything the same in my house all year round. Neutral throws, the same vases, nothing really changing. Although it looked clean and calm, but honestly, after a while, it didn't feel like me anymore. Because it felt like my home was not reflecting me or anything that is happening in my life. So I started small. I started rotating few pieces with the seasons, not buying new furniture or doing a full redesign, just swapping what I already had. That one little shift made everything feel more fresher and alive. The changes I make, they are very subtle. They are not extravagant at all. Like in winters, I would take out those embroidered cushions my mom gave me. They've got so much warmth and texture and they feel perfect for cozy nights. Then in summers, I put them away and go towards something more lighter and breezier. You guys, I have this marble bowl on my coffee table that literally never moves, but what's in it, that keeps changing. Sometimes I keep brass incense burner in the cooler months and a colorful ceramic jar in springs. These are little things, but they change the vibe completely. I actually grew up seeing this in a lot of Middle Eastern homes. Things like cushions, lanterns, trays, they rotate throughout the year. Not because it's trendy, but because it's part of home life. And I think we have kind of forgotten that. Changing your space was not a chore, it was natural. Yes, it does take a bit of storage and you've got to actually remember what you tucked away. But honestly, every time I swap something out, the space feels new again, even though nothing else has changed. So if you talk about patterns, they can be tricky. One bold print and nothing else in the room feels like it exists. What helped me when I was starting? To start small and think about the balance. Like our day-to-day challenges. If I'm bringing a patterned rug, I have to keep my pillows toned down. Or if I want to use a bold cushion, which I really love, I'll repeat one of its color in a vase or it throws somewhere else in the room. This way the pattern stands out and it doesn't scream. Some of my favorite patterns actually come from traditional pieces I grew up around, like the carved detail in a wooden tray or the geometric shapes you find in the Middle Eastern tile work. Those patterns feel timeless because they are. They are not trendy, they are rooted in something deeper. And when you combine that with a color you love or a texture that makes a space feel grounded, that's when the room really starts to come alive. So if you are starting at your space and thinking you are missing something, try this. Pick one pattern piece you love and build around it. That's all you need. It really just comes down to finding the right balance. Keeping your palette simple and repeating few details you really love, and then letting that mix of tradition and trends tell your story. That's how your space ends up feeling both fresh and personal. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.